Hey guys, today we're going to talk about inverses. We're going to talk about a couple of different ways to know when two things make an inverse. And then we're also going to talk about how to find the inverse of an equation when you are given an equation to start with. So the first thing we're going to look at is a table of values. So we want to know, how do we find the inverse when we're given a table of values? Let's start by plotting the points from table 1 on our graph over here. We've got the point -2.25, which is 1/4. Oops, -2.25. Then we have -1.5, so -1, 1/2. Then we have 0, 1. Oops. 1, 2. 2, 4, and 3, 8. Okay, so we've got something that goes like this. And since it's not a straight line, I don't really know what the other end of it does. So I'm just going to connect those points like that just to make them easier to see. Okay, we wouldn't even necessarily have to connect them, but I just want it to be easier to see as we work through this problem. Okay, then it says, step B says we're going to switch the X and Y coordinates and write that in table 2. So I'm going to just put a box around table 1 to know that those are the points we graphed in blue. Then I'm going to switch to, let's switch to red. It says we're going to switch the X and Y coordinates. So this is going to be 0.25 for X and -2 for Y. So I'm going to go ahead and switch all of them. Okay, and then it says, step C says we're going to plot the points from table 2 on the same graph, but in a different color. So I have 0.25, -2, 0.5, -1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 4, 2, and then 8, 3. So if I were to connect these, it looks something like that. So it's got a similar curve, it just appears to be facing the other direction. Okay, then it says we want to draw the line y equals x on the graph. So if you remember, that's our linear parent function. It's going to go through the origin, and it's going to have a slope of 1. So I'm going to draw that right here. So there's a line y equals x. So then we're supposed to look for patterns. So if you notice, these lines, or the red and the blue, are reflected across that line y equals x. Meaning if you were to fold it on that yellow line, the blue and the red would coincide. They would be on top of one another. Okay, and that's because when we created the inverse table, we used the x as our new y value and the original y as our new x value. So right here, the line y equals x is true. Right here, our y equals the previous x value, and vice versa. The x equals the previous y value. So we just reflected the whole entire table. Notice we didn't change any of the signs. All of the signs are still the same. So for example, 0.25 was positive in the y column of the original table. It's still positive in the x column of the new table. So your inverse table just took both columns of values and it switched them. So y is now your x and x is now your y. Okay, if we do the same thing here, I'll switch to blue for the first one just because that's what we did on the first one. So I have -310. Whoops, that's not quite on -3. -310, -2, 7, -1, 4, 0, 1, 1, -2. So this one looks like it is making a straight line. 2, -5, 3, -8, and 4, -11 right here. So this one, if I connect my dots, straight line, okay? And then we're going to flip-flop our values. So here I have 10, -3, 7, -2, 4, -1, 1, 0, -2, 1, -5, 2, -8, 3, and -11, 4. So I'm going to plot those points on my grid in red. So -2, 4, -1, 1, 0, -2, 1. -5, 2, whoops. -2, 1 kind of hopped up too high, didn't it? There we go. -8, 3, and then -11, 4. So you'll see that this is a straight line. Well, if I would have gone through the points as a straight line. And then if I graph the line y equals x, okay, those still do reflect. And we know that because if we look at this portion of the blue line, it's going to reflect onto this portion of the red line. If I were to fold it on that yellow, y equals x. And then if I look at this portion of the red line, it's going to reflect on this portion of the blue line. Okay, so in both instances, when we flip-flopped our x and our y value and created the inverse, we reflected our points across the line y equals x. Okay, if we were to talk distance, this point and this point are going to be the same distance from the yellow line. This point and this point are going to be the same distance from the yellow line.